When the Johnson boat was towed to the Magic Island by the Euclidean submarine, it appeared that all hope for the Gregory party had vanished. However, Johnson was not on board the boat, having left it secretly on the high seas and boarded another boat returning to Los Angeles. The formula which Captain Bradford had sent to Johnson by homing pigeon has been taken by G-47, and the Euclidean scientists immediately set about compounding this formula, thinking they have Captain Bradford's universal solvent. The formula is really something far different, however, and as we look into the laboratory, we see Jerry and Joan standing with G-47, the woman submarine commander, and the submarine engineer.
Excellent work, Commander. You have brought them just in time. The work on the captain's formula is within seconds of completion.
I will take them to the confinement cells, if you wish it.
No. I want them here. Bradford is a very clever man. It is entirely possible that he may have planned a little...
To the confinement cells, if you wish it.
No. I want them here. Bradford is a very clever man. It is entirely possible that he may have planned a little surprise for us at the completion of the formula. It will be well to have two of his friends near me at that time.
What do you mean, G-47?
If anything unpleasant were to happen, it might lessen the captain's enjoyment to know that you too, young fools, had received a portion of the treatment.
You are wanted at the table, G-47.
Yes. Come with me, you two. Over here, quickly.
Is that the stuff there?
Precisely. It has reached the boiling point. The process should be complete any second. Yes, quick.
Jerry, I'm sleepy, Jerry.
Joan. Boy, it's a good thing we got out of there fast, Joan. I forgot and started to talk.
And I too, Jerry. A little of the gas got in my mouth, but I think I'm quite all right now.
Now, we're supposed to go and stir up all the rest of the Euclideans and try and get them to rush into that room to save G-47 and the chemist. Then they'll get some of the gas, too.
We will not need to alarm anyone, Jerry. That gong has done it for us.
You mean that gong will bring the others here to rescue G-47 and his scientists?
Yes, Jerry. The single stroke of the gong was for laboratory number 1. The 5 strokes for this level.
Boy, then we'd better get someplace else quick if we're going to get away at all.
I do not know where to go, Jerry. We will meet other Euclideans if we use the elevator shafts.
I got it, Joan. Back into that noisy room, quick.
You are right, Jerry. That is the best place. I think we will be safe in here, Jerry.
Well, we better stick close to this door. Now, don't get out in the middle of the room where our voices make that funny hollow sound. Somebody might hear it outside.
I think the sound could not leave the room, but it is best to be careful.
Hey, who's ringing that alarm gong?
No one. It is automatic. One of the scientists must have been able to set off the alarm before the gas overcame him. It will continue to ring at intervals until someone enters the laboratory and shuts it off.
Well, from what Tex said, there'll be a lot of them enter the room before anybody wakes up to shut anything off.
How long will that gas in the laboratory remain active, Jerry?
Well, I don't know for sure. Tex said he couldn't tell that without knowing how big the room was and how airtight and how much of the stuff they mixed up.
Then it might be safe for the others to go in there quite soon.
Yeah, but what of it? Those fellows in there will sleep for hours, Tex said.
The Euclideans have many wonderful antidotes and methods for reviving an unconscious person, Jerry. We may not have as much time as you planned on.
I know all that, but we can't make a move till we find out about these others who'll be rushing in there now.
Jerry, the gong.
I didn't hear anything.
That is the trouble, Jerry.
What's wrong now?
The gong has passed the regular interval when it should have rung automatically.
Then that means that somebody got safely into that room and shut off the alarm.
Yes, and that means we may have very little time to reach and warn the captain.
Not only that, but we've got to get out of here before we're caught. Or our only chance to get away with this thing is to be back on the yacht, looking plenty innocent when the other Euclideans come around asking questions.
Jerry, I have thought of a way.
Well, dish out the thought quick. I'm no mind reader.
Over there in the corner is an old elevator kept noisy for testing soundproof devices. It is never used. We can try that.
Get going then, and don't let any grass grow under your feet.
grass grow under my feet. Jerry, I do not understand.
Skip it. Take out for that corner. Go ahead, run. Show me where it is. I'll follow. Hurry up.
It's this way, Jerry.
Oh. If they don't hear this, they're all deaf.
It cannot be heard outside this room. Now we are out of the sound zone.
So I noticed. Now, where's the elevator?
I will move this lever. The door will open.
Boy, they sure didn't waste any soundproof paint on that.
Hurry inside, Jerry. Then we will go upward.
Okay, let's go.
This is not a good elevator, is it, Jerry?
Well, it goes up. That's all I want for any elevator right now. Hey, what are we going to do when we get off this thing?
What do you mean, Jerry?
Well, we'll be caught sure if we try to make it across the top of the island all the way to the yacht. Those guards in the control chamber on the surface won't leave their post to answer the alarm, will they?
Oh, no, Jerry. I had thought of that. We are not going to the surface. I know of a tunnel on the first level, just below the surface. We will use that.
And that will get us to the edge of the island without being seen?
Yes, Jerry. It will bring us out at Pier 5, within a few feet of my mother's yacht.
Oh, you're a peach of a girl, Joan. Oh, you're a honey.
I do not understand just what I am, but I like the way you call me those names.
Oh, you'll do, Joan. Hey, we stopped.
Yes, this is the first level. Now I will open the door. Get out, Jerry. This is the tunnel.
Boy, it's dark enough to be 2 tunnels. Now where?
Just a moment. I will set the lever inside the car for the 5th level again. Then when I close this door, the car will automatically return to the sound channel, and no one will know we have used the elevator.
You're getting better and better. Give it the gun. I got my flashlight. Is it safe to use it?
Yes, quite safe. We could not use the lighting system in this tunnel. The indicators in the control chambers would show that current was being withdrawn for use here.
Here goes the lights, then. Boy, this place is big enough to drive a truck through.
That is often done, Jerry. The electric carriers run through this passageway, carrying materials from ships to the interior of the island.
Okay, tell me about the wonders of the joint later. Just now, what direction is Pier 5?
Directly ahead, through the tunnel.
Come on, then. Let's go.
What can we do after we reach the yacht, Jerry?
No telling till we get there. But your mother and Captain Bradford will have some plan all worked out.
But even now, the Euclideans, other than the chemists, are in the laboratory, trying to revive the chemists who were stricken by the gas, turning in alarms to all parts of the island, looking in every room and passageway for evidence that someone other than the Euclideans was there.
Well, we didn't leave any tracks, and nobody saw us coming out of the laboratory, so we're safe. And beside that, it was an accident anyhow. How could anyone prove the captain knew the foreign would explode and make that sleep-producing gas?
The Euclideans have ways of doing many things, Jerry. Stop!
You didn't tell me any too soon. I just about bumped my head on that wall.
The passage turns here, Jerry, and circles the island, just at the base of the piers. But we go straight ahead.
Straight ahead? Through that wall?
The wall has a door in it. Watch. See?
Gee, another of those doors.
Yes, Jerry. Into the lock at once.
Another lock, huh?
Yes. Now I will shut the door behind us. Can you swim underwater, Jerry?
Sure. Can you?
Naturally. Now I will have to admit water to this lock. When it reaches your face, hold your breath. It will only be for a few seconds until the lock is full. The outer door will open automatically, and we will swim out. Ready?
Let her go.
Yes. Now, Jerry, when the doors open, swim straight out and up. My mother's boat should be directly in front of this door, and within a few feet of it.
I get the idea. The water's pretty near up to my shoulders now. You're shorter than I am, Joan. Hang on to my shoulders.
I will do that, Jerry. Brace yourself so the last rush of water does not knock you from your feet.
Ready here.
I am ready. Say no more until we reach the surface near the yacht.
Hey, Joan.
Quiet, Jerry.
We're right between the 2 boats, Johnson's and the yacht.
Yes, Jerry. Swim well in between them until we cannot be seen from the island. We should be able to grasp the line the boats are lashed together with.
Yeah, good girl, Joan. Let's go.
Look here, Jerry. There is a large hole in my mother's boat, just above the waterline.
Yeah, one in Johnson's, too. What does that mean?
Roll in here quick, kid, in Johnson's boat.
Captain Bradford.
Yeah, hurry up, Joan. You first. Crawl in that hole.
Yes. Come in quickly, Jerry.
Coming up.
Good work, kids. We heard the alarm going off for the 5th level, so we knew the formula done its work.
Yeah. What's the idea of the holes in the boat, Tex?
Come up into Johnson's radio cabin quick, and I'll tell you.
I think we will not have much time, Captain, before the Euclideans will come here and ask questions.
I know that. Here, look out for that beam. Duck your heads.
Gosh, this boat's a lot bigger than the yacht, isn't it?
Yes, nearly 40 feet longer. 20 foot on the beam. Plenty of storage space in the hold. Now wait until I look around before you kids come up here.
That is a good thought, Captain. It would excite suspicion if Jerry and I were seen returning to the boat, dripping wet as we are.
Yeah, all clear now. We'll just duck through this passage into the radio cabin.
Joan, my dear.
Oh, Mother.
I've been so worried about you.
We're okay, Mrs. Gregory.
Did the formula work as Tex anticipated?
Exactly, Mother. Every Euclidean chemist was put to sleep by the gas at once.
Have you raised him yet, Pat?
No, but I've been calling almost constantly. He should answer any moment now.
Who are you calling, Mrs. Gregory?
Johnson. But I'm calling our station at Wilmington. Johnson will know the message is for him if he hears it.
I think it is very dangerous, Mother. The guards in the control room will be sure to hear the message.
That's what we want them to do. They think Johnson's a prisoner here now. And if they hear us frantically calling for help, they won't blame that gas explosion in the laboratory on us. Keep trying it, Pat.
J24Y to Wilmington. J24Y to Wilmington. Patricia Gregory to Wilmington. Johnson arrived and captured. Captain Bradford's formula taken from Johnson and now in hands of Euclideans. Can you hear me, Wilmington? Patricia Gregory calling Wilmington.
When Jerry Hall went to Mrs. Patricia Gregory's home at midnight and begged her to take him on the Gregory yacht, which was sailing for the South Seas to search for Mrs. Gregory's long-lost little daughter, Joan, Jerry didn't even dream of the weird adventures the cruise would lead to. Now the Gregory yacht is tied up at one of the piers on Euclidia, the magic island, and lashed securely to it is Johnson's boat, also captured and held prisoner when Johnson sailed to the rescue of the Gregory party. Two things have happened, however, which give Mrs. Gregory and her party more reason for hope than the Euclideans know anything about. We hear them planning how to use these advantages as they talk excitedly in the radio cabin.
Before you say anything further about your plans, Captain Bradford, might I ask one question?
Go to it, Joan. The more mistakes we can find before we make them, the better off we'll be.
I merely wanted to ask if you were quite sure none of the Euclideans had been in this room since Jerry and I left to go to the laboratory.
I'm sure of that, aren't you, Tex?
I was just trying to think, Pat. Of course, we were in and out of here while we were working down in the hold, but I'm reasonably sure no one else was in here. We didn't leave the cabin for any great length of time.
What do you want to know that for, Joan?
Because, Jerry, we are now going to discuss our plans for escape from this island, and we cannot do so unless we are absolutely certain of privacy while we are speaking.
Golly whiskers, Joan, you're right. And if any of those Euclideans were snooping around in here, they might have done something to this seaweed cloth so we wouldn't shield us from the sound and the light beams anymore.
Precisely.
Hey, what did I tell you about sounding like old G-47?
I am sorry, Jerry. I should have said exactly.
Now, your point is well taken, Joan, but I think we'll have to take the chance.
Is there any way we could tell if the cloth had been tampered with, Joan, dear?
No, Mother. It can be sprayed with a liquid which robs it of all opaque properties. Yet the change cannot be detected.
Well, I'd say we didn't have time to worry about it. We've only got a few minutes to figure this thing out.
Right, kid. I'm for taking a chance and going ahead with the plans. Because any minute now, one of those Euclideans is going to come running in here and ask what we know about my formula blowing up.
You two had better tell Tex and me exactly what happened. Then we can fit our plans into it.
Well, we started to get ourselves into trouble, so we'd be taking a G-47 in the laboratory. And we got taken there mighty fast and without getting into trouble.
We met the submarine commander. She took us to the sound channel, the only room on the island where one may always talk with on this island. And we cannot do so unless we are absolutely certain of privacy while we are speaking.
Golly whiskers, Joan, you're right. And if any of those Euclideans were snooping around in here, they might have done something to this seaweed cloth so we wouldn't shield us from the sound and the light beams anymore.
Precisely.
Hey, what did I tell you about sounding like old G-47?
I am sorry, Jerry. I should have said exactly.
Now, your point is well taken, Joan, but I think we'll have to take the chance.
Is there any way we could tell if the cloth had been tampered with, Joan, dear?
No, Mother. It can be sprayed with a liquid which robs it of all opaque properties. Yet the change cannot be detected.
Well, I'd say we didn't have time to worry about it. We've only got a few minutes to figure this thing out.
Right, kid. I'm for taking a chance and going ahead with the plans. Because any minute now, one of those Euclideans is going to come running in here and ask what we know about my formula blowing up.
You two had better tell Tex and me exactly what happened. Then we can fit our plans into it.
Well, we started to get ourselves into trouble, so we'd be taking a G-47 in the laboratory. And we got taken there mighty fast and without getting into trouble.
We met the submarine commander. She took us to the sound channel, the only room on the island where one may... Commander, she took us to the sound channel, the only room on the island where one may always talk without being overheard.
Yeah, and that's the craziest room you ever saw. More funny noises and funny things without any sound.
Some other time, kid. Get on with the story.
I'm sorry. Well, that girl commander took us in this room just so we could talk to her without anybody hearing us. And we told her about the formula. Oh, how it filled the laboratory with gas and put everybody in the room to sleep the minute it was completed.
Oh, do you think it was wise to trust her that way?
I was in doubt at first, Mother, but her subsequent activities quite definitely substantiated Jerry's method of procedure.
That means everything came out okay.
I thought that might be it, kid. Go ahead.
Well, so we told this gal how we wanted to get into the laboratory to watch the experiment finished. How we had the cotton in our noses so the gas wouldn't put us to sleep. And that we wanted to get in there just before the blow-up so G-47 wouldn't have time to ask us questions or send us away someplace else.
The commander then left us in the sound channel while she went to learn of the progress of the experiment. Luckily, G-47 had learned of our presence on the lower levels, and he promptly sent the commander back to look for us.
You sure got a good break there.
This thing seemed to have gone almost too nicely for you.
Yeah. Then we tried to get the commander to put some of the cotton in her own nose, but she said no. Said it would look better when they woke up if she had really been put to sleep like the rest of them.
That girl deliberately allowed the gas to overcome her.
Yes, Mother. The commander said it would put her beyond suspicion and leave her in a position of being free to aid us at another time.
That's one of the most courageous things I've ever heard of. No matter what happens to us, we'll take care of that girl.
Gosh, that's swell of you, Captain. And it's mighty smart of her to figure that she could do us more good by going to sleep with the rest of them.
Jerry and I held our breaths a moment and made sure that everyone else was really asleep. Then we hurried out of the laboratory, and we were not seen or heard coming here.
Fine. Oh, but could it be possible that G-47 was watching you and noticed that you didn't react to the gas as the others did?
But we did. Joan and I both kind of choked a little bit, like the others did. Then we fell down on the floor and stayed real still for a second or two, till everybody in the room was quiet, like they were sound asleep. Then we jumped up and ducked out.
It looks cut and dried, Pat. I don't see where anything could possibly have gone wrong.
No, Tex, it seems perfect. Oh, if only these Euclideans really believe Johnson is here with us and don't find the hole we've cut between the boats, we should make our escape as soon as darkness covers the island.
I was going to ask you, what are the holes in the boats for?
Gee whiz.
Well, we haven't any choice.
We have nothing to lose. Our case is hopeless as it is.
You're right, Joan, dear. Nice work, Joan.
Come in. Oh, you.
Oh, my.
Oh, the skipper.
Oh, boy.
Yep.
Well, what's up, Skipper?
Done.
What's done?
Tanks.
You got the oil tanks in Johnson's boat ready for the oil?
Yep.
Then we can begin transferring the oil at once, can't we?
Nope.
Why not?
Noise.
What noise, Skipper?
Pumps.
He's right, Pat. There isn't a sound anywhere on this island. If we start the pumps on this yacht to pump our oil over into Johnson's boat, they'll hear the pumps and come a-running to spoil our little plan.
Is it that you are going to transfer the oil from this boat to the other one and use the other boat for the escape?
Yes, dear. Johnson's boat is better for the purpose.
I get it. And we've got to have noise to cover up the working of the pumps before you can move the oil. Right, Skipper?
Right.
That's a problem. How can we make enough noise to cover those pumps without the noise being suspicious?
Yeah. Say, wait a minute. You've got a little portable power saw on board, Tex. I saw it.
Of course, Jerry, but
And
what...
that broken mast out there is hard to handle. The most natural thing to do with it is to cut it off clean near the bottom, then step the new end in the deck. Why can't we rig the saw up on deck and go to work on the mast? We can keep the saw running and cover the noise of the pumps.
Tex, will it work?
You bet it'll work. And we can keep our motors idling to run the generators for current for the saw motor. That'll be more noise to cover the pumps. Good boy, Jerry.
You are wonderful, Jerry.
Oh, you don't have to keep reminding me of it all the time. I won't forget that I am.
I feel sure that you won't, Jerry. but you certainly earned the bouquet this time. Oh, does that answer your question, Skipper?
Yeah. All right, Skipper. You wait until you hear our motors and the saw start. Then pump and pump fast.
Aye.
You can take Jerry with you now and set up the saw. Get the crew from Johnson's boat to help you.
Aye.
Now work fast, Jerry, and send McLeod in here to us now. If you talk to him out on the deck, don't forget to call him Johnson.
Aye, sir.
Hurry up with that saw, boys. Let's fix up the mast so we can use our thing again there.
Right, sir.
Oh, Captain Bradford, it seems that things are going nicely for us after all.
It sure does, Joan. We get that radio working. I only hope they keep things up like this.
We didn't have time to tell you what we'd been doing while you and Jerry were gone, Joan, dear. But Tex has had the men working quietly, cutting holes in the sides of the two boats, just above the waterline.
Yes, I know. Jerry and I crawled aboard through one of the holes.
Yeah, and you're still dripping wet, Joan. Hadn't you better change your clothes?
Oh, but it is so nice and warm. I'm sure I will be comfortable.
No, dear, the captain's right. Better run along and put on one of my dresses. The tan sweater and skirt will fit you nicely.
I will do as you say, Mother dear, but really I do not like to miss any of the excitement. Oh, how do you do, Mr. Johnson?
And you, Miss Joan.
Nicely, thank you. Won't you go right into the cabin? Mother and the captain are expecting you.
Thank you.
Come over and sit down, Mac.
You needn't look so frightened, Mac. The cloth covering this cabin will keep anyone from hearing us call you Mac.
Will it cover up my accent, too? I sound about as much like Johnson as a bullfrog does as a mockingbird.
That'll do all right in here, Mac. How are you getting along with the transfer?
Well, everything below deck is in the other boat now, except the oil. That's a problem.
A problem no longer, Mac. Jerry solved it. He's going to run the power saw and cut off the broken mast while the pumps work to cover the noise.
That's a clever laddie, that Jerry. You didn't lose a thing when he shanghaied himself aboard for this cruise.
Yeah, we know it, Mac. Jerry and Joan have done a lot we couldn't have done ourselves.
And the best part of it is that you two have enough sense to give him a chance to do something. There's many a smart young'un in this world that never gets a chance to show what they can do, for the old folks standing in their way.
You're right, Mac. But much as we'd like to talk about our clever juveniles, there's work to be done. Are you going to try and move anything out of the cabin, Tex?
Not much. We'll take this radio and my instruments the last thing, in the dark, just before we shove off. But I'm afraid you'll have to get along with very few clothes and luxuries, Pat.
You know how much that worries me, Tex. What else?
Well, I'm not so sure about the fuel supply. Remember, we've only a little oil here. And those diesels on the other boat burn it up fast.
About how far will we have to run from here to be safe?
That depends on how soon our going is discovered, I think, and how well organized the Euclideans are to stop us.
Yes, if we can get clear away before the scientists in that laboratory start waking up, we may be all right. But the most we can get 50 miles from here with that oil, then sail. And sail will be too slow if they really take out after us.
Well, all we can do is to make the try, Captain.
There goes the motors and the saw. Duck back out there, Mac. Get down into your own engine room without being seen and start those pumps. Use the full flow. You ought to transfer all the oil in half an hour.
Half an hour will be ample time. I'll hurry you.
Well, we'd better go out on deck and act interested in fixing that mast, Pat.
Suppose you go, Tex, and leave me here to use the radio. I'll keep sending as though I were trying to get help from the mainland. Johnson will be picking it up wherever that boat he's on is now, and he'll make something out of it.
Good idea, Pat. It'll make these Euclideans think we're desperate. They'll be intercepting the beam all the time.
I'll keep on trying to get help, Tex.
Good luck, dear.
Hey, Tex, come over here, will you?
Why, sure, son. Coming right up. What's the matter, Jerry?
Well, I'm not sure how you want this mast sawed. There's one of those Euclidean guards coming down the pier. What'll I do?
Just saw wood, kid. Just saw wood.
On Euclidia, the magic island of the South Seas, events are moving very rapidly. Johnson's boat has arrived and been captured. Jerry and Joan have been in the chemical laboratory and watched the exploding gas from Captain Bradford's trick formula put the Euclidean scientists, including G-47, to sleep. Now, Jerry and Joan are back on Mrs. Gregory's yacht, where it is lashed to Johnson's boat. Jerry is running a little portable power saw on the deck of the yacht to cover up the noise of the pumps transferring oil to Johnson's boat for the escape attempt. Joan is with her mother in the radio cabin.
J24Y to Wilmington. Patricia Gregory to the Gregory Relay Station. Hello, Wilmington. J24Y to Wilmington. Hello. Hello.
I cannot understand, Mother dear, why they do not answer you.
I understand it, Joan, and I don't expect them to answer me.
Why not, Mother?
For one reason, they can't possibly hear me. We're 4,000 miles from the California coast, and with our broken aerial and this set not working properly, we're lucky if we can be heard 400 miles, let alone 4,000.
Then how does it help us any to keep calling? And your messages sound so strange. I do not understand much of your plan, I think.
Well, I haven't much of a plan, dear. What I'm trying to do is keep the Euclideans in the radio chambers busy worrying about these messages. As long as they think our position is hopeless here and that we're frantically calling for help, they won't suspect how nearly ready we are to try and escape.
But what about Mr. Johnson? Will he be hearing these messages and acting on them to help you?
I hope so, dear, though it's rather difficult to put much of value to him in the messages. However, he'll be listening to all of them, as long as he's within range of this transmitter at least. And when we actually run away from here, he may be able to figure some way to meet us before our fuel gives out.
I'm so afraid, Mother dear, that these Euclideans will discover you have cut holes in the two boats and are transferring the oil from this yacht to Johnson's cruiser.
They may not. Jerry's making a very convincing job of sawing on that mast out there. The noise will cover the sound of the pumps are making, and unless some of the Euclideans actually swim in between the boats, as you and Jerry did, I don't think they'll see the holes. They're so near the waterline.
I would like to go out on the deck and see what is happening now.
You'd better not, dear. Jerry and the captain will be busy trying to answer the questions of that Euclidean guard. You'd only add to the confusion if you went out there.
What if the guard should discover the plans to use the other boat in escaping?
Joan, dear, don't be so pessimistic. If those things happen, they'll simply have to happen. Now, I'll use the radio again, see if I can think of something which might give Johnson an idea as to our real position here. J24Y calling Wilmington. Gregory Yacht to Relay Station. Relay this to Gregory Land Station at Wilmington. Both boats powerless. Held captive at latitude 29 degrees south. Longitude 124 degrees 30 minutes west. Impossible attempt escape. No fuel for boats.
Oh, the captain.
Yes, Joan, and I've got some good news for you.
What is it, Tex?
Go right on with your sending, Pat. This can wait until you get your message out.
I wasn't sending anything of value, Tex. Just trying to find a way to let Johnson know something definite about our plans and the situation here.
Well, after we figure a little on what I've got now, maybe it'll be easier to get a message to Johnson that he will understand.
You have discovered something of value to us, Captain Bradford?
I think so. That Euclidean who came aboard just now and put Jerry and me through a cross-examination didn't have any idea that the gas explosion in the laboratory was anything more than an accident. He wanted to know if that had ever happened to me when I was working on the formula.
You think they were really deceived about it?
No doubt of it. They don't even suspect that the formula was deliberately prepared to put them to sleep.
I can believe that is possible, as the Euclidean chemists were all in the laboratory at the time, and they would be the only ones on the island with enough knowledge of chemistry to suspect anything about the formula.
Right, Joan. And as long as these chemists stay asleep, we won't have any trouble over that.
But the man who came and talked to you, he must have had something definite in mind. What did he question you about?
He wanted to know if I had an antidote for the action of the gas. If I couldn't go to the laboratory and revive these men some way.
Of course you will not do it, Captain.
You bet I won't. And I couldn't even if I wanted to. There's nothing I ever heard of that'll bring these men out of their little nap.
How long will the effects last?
Oh, several hours. At least until after dark. The minute it's dark, we've got to make our break for the open.
But how will we ever get that boat of Johnson's out through the pier opening and away from the island without being heard?
There is often a brisk wind from the south in the evening. Could you sail that boat out, Captain?
That's what I'm figuring on trying. They'd hear the motors.
I wonder if the batteries in Johnson's boat are in shape to handle the radio.
I imagine they're pretty dead after dragging that boat around, but we'll move our batteries over there after dark.
Oh, Captain, listen. The noise has stopped.
Yeah, so it has. That means the oil's all transferred to the other boat, and Jerry can quit sewing on that mast.
Well, Jerry, did you finish with the mast?
Yes, Mrs. Gregory. And I wanted to ask you about that, Tex.
What is it, Jerry?
Don't you think it'd be a good idea for me to go right ahead and set that short mast into place, then rig up the radio aerial again? It'll give these fellas an idea we're planning on staying on this boat, if they're watching us.
I think that would be very wise, Jerry.
Oh, you would think so. Easy enough for you to sit here and think things are wise for me to do. Have you ever tried pushing a mast around?
Why, no, Jerry.
Then come on out with me. You're going to learn how to do it.
Now, Jerry, that work will be too hard for Joan.
Oh, I don't want her to work. I just want her to sit there and watch me do it, so she can tell me how good I am when I get it done.
Well, if you need moral support, go right ahead, Jerry, and take Joan with you. I'm going to stay here with Pat for a while and try to figure out how to get an intelligent message to Johnson.
Come on, Joan. You can boss the job while I work on the mast.
You must both be very careful out there.
We will, Mother, and I will see that Jerry does a good job. Now I want to see what you have done, Jerry.
I'll show that to you later. Just now I've got another idea in my mind. Come on around behind this cabin.
But, Jerry, what did you...
Now, don't ask me now. Wait till we get around here. There. Now, this ought to do.
For what?
Wait till I get a chance to tell you. Now, first, we've got this radio cabin between us and the island, right?
Of course, Jerry. That is obvious.
Never mind the cracks. Just answer my questions. Now, that cabin is all lined with that Euclidean soundproof cloth. All the way around, isn't it?
Precisely.
Hey.
I am sorry. I mean, certainly it is.
Then, if we stand here, with that cabin between us and the island, can we talk without anyone on the island hearing us?
Yes, Jerry. I am sure that is possible. Of course, we will have to watch for anyone on the other pier over there.
Oh, I know that. We'll have to watch all around and up and down. But what I want to know, is there any way for their sound beams from the central control chamber on the island to pick up what we say from here?
No, Jerry. We will be safe with this insulated cabin between us and the instrument.
Swell. Now listen, I've got an idea. And it's something I didn't dare tell your mother and Tex because they wouldn't let us try it. But I think you and I can put it over.
Is it something dangerous, Jerry?
Plenty. But it's just as good as it is dangerous. And it's a swell chance to make sure we get off this island tonight.
Oh, Jerry, what is it? I will help you, no matter how dangerous it might be.
Atta girl, Joan. I knew you'd be with me. But we've got to be mighty careful that Captain Bradford or Mrs. Gregory don't find out anything about it.
Then we must speak very quietly, Jerry. They might hear us through this cabin wall.
But you said the cloth would keep them from that.
Not exactly, Jerry. The cloth would keep sound from being recorded in the control room. But if we spoke loudly enough, our voices might be heard through this thin wall. Not what we said, of course. But if they heard our voices here, when we should be on the other side of the boat working on that mast, they might come out to see who it was.
Right, Joan. We'll take it easy.
Now tell me what it is. You must have some plan which you and I can work out.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Listen. Oh, boy, that's swell. The skipper and Mac are working on that mast now. Tex will think it's me, and he won't come out looking for me.
Well, hurry, Jerry, your plan.
Well, I'll tell you, Joan. It's mighty dangerous, for you as well as me. And you don't have to go for it if you don't want to.
Why, Jerry, do you not realize that I want to do everything you do and go with you at all times? I am afraid of nothing, Jerry, if you and I are to try it together.
Atta baby, Joan. Atta baby.
I know what that means now, Jerry. It means
Never
that...
mind that now. You're a swell girl, Joan, but your English is terrible. Forget it and listen to the plan.
Of course, Jerry.
Well, to begin with, my plan's only good if you know a whole lot about this island. I mean, where the main switches are that control all the electricity on the island. Where the one room is where the most damage would be done if anything happened to that room. And where the men are that would have to watch out for most.
You want a good deal, Jerry. But I think I can help you with all of it.
Okay. Now, here's one other thing. How far can we walk on that island without getting stopped? I mean, how close can we get to any of the important rooms?
I think with the chemists all asleep in the laboratory, the other Euclideans will be rather uncertain in their conduct. We may find the watches very lax.
Swell. Now, here's what we've got to do. Captain Bradford is planning on trying to sail Johnson's boat out after dark. And your mother is trying to get a message to Johnson that will let him know we'll be on the high seas without any fuel in the boat. Now, all that's all right, but I'm afraid Tex is leaving too much to chance here. Even if most of those guys are asleep, there'll be plenty of Euclideans who know how to handle those big ray guns and the submarines and all. And even without old G-47, I got a hunch somebody on that island is going to have sense enough to stop that boat before we get very far.
That is what I think, Jerry. But Mother and the captain will not let me talk that way.
I know that, but this is something they won't know anything about until it's all over. You and I are going to take a crack at wrecking a couple of the most important places on the island.
You mean we will attempt to destroy certain valuable nerve centers in the island mechanism in order to guarantee their improper function when the time arrives to attack our boat?
No. I mean we'll bust up a few of the things they can't use and stop us.
That is exactly what I said, Jerry.
Oh, didn't sound the same to me. Anyway, just before dark tonight, you and I are going to leave this boat. We'll take a walk on the island, and when we get back to the boat, we'll have a mighty good chance of getting away from here.
Unless we are caught, Jerry, then we will not get away at all.
Yeah, I guess that's right. But we'll try it just the same. Now, we'd better get out on deck there and act like we'd been working on that mast.
You are right, Jerry. We must appear to have been very busy, so the captain and my mother will not be alarmed.
Yeah. I don't hear any noise around there. I guess they've got the mast set up again. Hey, stop, Joan.
What is it, Jerry?
One more thing we've got to do tonight, and it's the first thing. We've got to get our hands on one of those ray guns.
I will take care of that, Jerry. I have one for each of us.
You what? Where did you get them?
When we pretended to faint in the laboratory, I fell very close to the commander. When we left, I had both of her ray guns hidden in my dress.
Joan, you're swell.
I know it.
In just a few hours, the Gregory party will attempt to escape from the Magic Island. When the Gregory yacht, with Mrs. Gregory, Captain Tex Bradford, and Jerry Hall aboard, was captured and drawn to the strange island of Euclidia by magnetic force, a little homing pigeon was released to carry word of their trouble to another boat with Johnson on board. Johnson, in turn, released a pigeon which arrived safely at the Gregory yacht. And with the aid of these clever little birds, the prisoners have arrived at what seems to be a chance to escape. The Euclidean scientists are asleep in the chemical laboratory, victims of a formula Captain Bradford gave them. Jerry and Joan are in the radio cabin on the yacht, planning a desperate move to help Mrs. Gregory and the captain.
It's a slick plan, Joan, if we can only get away from this yacht to try it out.
I think if you leave that to me, Jerry, I will be able to give Mother and the captain a plausible excuse for our sudden desire to return to the island.
Well, if you can, with these 2 ray guns you swiped from the commander, we've got a chance to put it over. But I guess we'll have to get the plan all worked out before we leave here. There won't be any place we can talk without being heard once we get down inside that blamed island.
Oh, yes, Jerry. We may go to the sound channel, for one.
Yeah, that's right.
And there are many small rooms throughout the island where we may talk in privacy if the Euclideans are not using them.
Yeah, if.
There will be many of the chemists' private quarters vacant. Remember that every chemist on the island is asleep in the laboratory.
Yeah, but it isn't the chemists we're worrying about. It's the electrical engineers and the radio operators and the submarine guards. We've got to get past all of them some way and get our hands on the switches or whatever cuts off the current supply on this island. We've got to get everything shut off so there's no chance of the Euclideans doing anything to stop us when we sail out of here right after dark.
It can be done, Jerry. It will be dangerous and exciting, but it can be done.
Okay, kid. I'm with you if you say so. But now we've got to think of an excuse to get off this yacht and onto the island.
I think, Jerry, the best way is for us to tell Mother and the captain what we intend trying to do.
They'll never let us do it.
I think they will. Captain Bradford will realize that our only hope is to render the island as nearly powerless as possible, and he will see instantly that you and I can move about in the island with greater freedom and less suspicion than would be allowed him.
It might work. We'll ask them anyhow. But remember this. If they say no, we'll find a way to go just the same.
Agreed, Jerry. We will, what you say, extract a rapid one.
You mean pull a fast one?
Exactly.
Ah, you're talking, Joan.
Oh, here are Mother and the captain.
Don't spring it up too soon now.
What's that, Jerry? You and Joan going to spring something on us?
Maybe. After a while.
Joan, dear, you and Jerry both look very guilty about something. You haven't been getting into trouble, have you?
Oh, no, Mother. We merely have a little something to tell you and the captain after a few minutes.
Well, I guess the mystery will keep. Just now I've got to get a message to Johnson, and I've got to get it to him quick.
You see, Jerry, Tex has run a wire through the holes in the sides of these boats and connected our transmitter to the aerial in the other boat.
Oh, swell, Tex. That ought to help a lot.
Yes, it will, but the batteries are nearly dead. I'm afraid to run the motors anymore for fear someone on the island will suspect something.
I think it is very dangerous, Captain, to try getting a message to Johnson. These Euclideans will surely understand what you are trying to do.
Don't you think, dear, that they were deceived about Johnson? That they believe Johnson came in here aboard his boat, don't they?
They do now, but it would take only a little suggestion to make them realize they had been tricked.
Hey, hold everything. I got an idea.
What is it, kid?
Well, it's pretty sure these Euclidean guys believe that McLeod is Johnson, all right?
Yes, Jerry. They believe that, as they had only heard his voice over the radio.
Then why not get Mac in here now? Let him send the message to Johnson, and that might help the idea along.
I'm afraid of that, Jerry.
Why, Pat?
Because they'd surely recognized the different voice when they heard it over the radio. Just now, they believe Mac is Johnson because he's only spoken briefly to G-47, pretended to have a sore throat then. But if he were to attempt to send a message... No, I think it'd do more harm than good.
You're right, Pat.
Sorry. Guess my idea wasn't so hot.
Never mind, Jerry. You will get another one someday.
Hey, I get 'em all the time.
Now, you two stop quarreling and give us a chance to send a message. Perhaps you'd better do it, Tex. You can work the initial code into it without writing it down. I'd have to scribble it out first.
Right. I'll see what I can do. Now, you can check this for me, Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
Copy what I send. Then we'll see if I hit the code accurately and all, enough for Johnson to decipher it. I'm afraid if I write it out, it'll sound so cut and dried anyone would know what I'm trying to do.
I'm ready. Go to it.
May I copy it also, Captain?
Sure, Joan, but you may find it a little fast when you're not used to it.
I will try and keep up with you.
Quiet now. Let Tex get his message over.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry to butt in, and I know that message is important. But I've got to say just one more thing.
All right, Jerry, but time's worth money now.
I know it, but I think you'll see where this is worth the time. Now, wouldn't it be better if you could get that message out without the Euclideans being able to intercept it? I mean, even if they could hear it, wouldn't it be better to know it was at least getting past the edge of the island?
Of course, Jerry, but that's impossible. All we can hope for is to get enough of the message outside the magnetic ring to do some good before they realize its value and stop our beam.
But suppose your beam is being stopped at all times. Then the Euclideans have your message. They may take their time in deciphering it, but long before dark, before you are ready to attempt the escape, they will know your plans and be ready to spoil them.
I know all that, Joan, but we've got to take the chance.
Oh, no, you don't, Tex. Look, if you let Joan and I try something...
That is right, Jerry. I feel this is the time to tell them.
Tell us what? Have you two a plan of real value?
We think it is, but you've got to let us tell you the whole thing before you say no.
Well, get on with it, son. If it sounds possible, we'll let you try it anyhow.
There, Jerry, you see? Now tell them about it.
Well, Joan and I figured we could get around a lot of places on the island easier than you two, because the Euclideans think Tex has got all the sense in this outfit.
Go on, Jerry.
And the first thing we need right now is to be sure of two things. First, that we can get a message to that boat Johnson's on and let him know we're going to make a break for it.
Right so far.
And also, we must make sure that no one on this island will be in a position to stop us when we take the boat out after dark tonight.
Well, of course, those things would be nice. But it's rather foolish to talk about arranging it so easily.
Yes, I'm afraid you've taken on too big an order, Jerry.
Oh, no, sir, we haven't. Now listen carefully to this. Joan knows a lot of the rooms in the island where we can talk without being heard on the rest of the island. And if we can make our way from one of these rooms to the other and take over control of each section we pass through, we can finally get the main control rooms and shut off all the electricity on the island. Then they can't make a move. And we can get our radio messages out first, then fix it so the boat can sail, and no one will ever know it till it's too late to stop us.
Why, Jerry, that's madness. You and Joan will most certainly do no such thing.
Not while I know it. Why, you kids wouldn't have a chance.
I think we would have a very good chance, Captain.
Oh, sure, Tex. Let us try it. Please. We can put it over. Please.
No, Tex, I won't permit it.
Neither will I. Why, you kids would just be getting started when one of those Euclideans would turn a ray gun on you. And when you woke up, you'd be prisoners in one of their submarine cells. Our escape would be hopeless, as we certainly wouldn't leave without you.
But what if Jerry and I were using the ray guns ourselves and were very careful to let no one see us? What then?
Well, of course, you might have a chance then, but where would you get the ray guns?
I have 2 of them.
Joan, you what?
You've got 2 of those things?
Sure she has. And they're the 5-minute kind. The 300-second ray, the Euclideans call them.
But how did you get them, dear? I thought the Euclideans guarded those guns with their lives.
When Jerry and I were in the laboratory and the gas fumes from the captain's formula put all the Euclideans to sleep, Jerry and I fell as if we were also overcome. And I took care to fall near the commander, almost on her, in fact. And when the others were all asleep and Jerry and I stood up to run out, I had both of the commander's ray guns hidden in my dress.
Joan, that's one of the finest things I ever heard of.
Joan, dear, your mother's so proud of you.
Didn't I tell you she was slick? And now what do you think of our chances?
You will surely allow us to go now, will you not?
Well, I don't know. The idea of you kids running around inside that island with a couple of those ray guns doesn't make much of a hit with me.
No, the guns make it even more dangerous. If you two were unarmed, you'd probably be taken without harm and merely confined in a cell. But with those things, you'd take chances and deliberately run into danger. No, I don't like it.
Oh, but gee, Mrs. Gregory, if Joan and I did all right about getting ourselves into that laboratory now and again,
And if Joan's clever enough to get those guns, we ought to have a chance to show what we can do.
Yes, Mother. Jerry and I are quite capable of taking care of ourselves. And it should be our privilege to contribute at least a portion of the energy expended toward our ultimate freedom.
She means we ought to get a crack at helping things along.
Please, Captain Bradford, we will be very careful.
Oh, sure, Tex. Joan and I will watch every move, and before we get caught, we'll run right back to you. How's that?
Well, Pat,
You'd let them go if I would, wouldn't you, Tex?
Yes, dear, that's a big chance for them. If you and I fail to get off this island our own way, we've not only let them down, but we've refused them a chance to help themselves and all of us.
You're right, Tex. I'm only being a woman about it. It's a little hard for me to think of Joan taking such chances. For 14 years, I've searched the world over for her. Now, only a few days after I found her, I must let her go again. Go into danger because of me.
Oh, forget it, Mrs. Gregory. I'll take care of Joan. No matter what happens, I'll look out for her. And you and the captain can do a lot more good by being right here on this boat and having everything ready to shove off as soon as it gets dark.
All right, you win, kid. Though it seems funny for Pat and me to sit here and let you kids run these risks. Oh, I know it's a sensible thing to do.
Now, Captain Bradford, if you will give me the message you were going to send in the hope Johnson might hear it, I will copy it. And Jerry and I may get a chance to send it from the Euclidean control chamber.
Yeah, then we'd know it got out all right.
But wouldn't it be heard other places on the island?
Not if we were able to operate the controls ourselves. We could regulate the beam transmission apparatus so that the message could only be picked up by a radio receiver and not by the electric ears around the island.
You certainly know this island, Joan.
I have had 14 years in which to learn of it. Now, may I have the message, Captain?
Right, Joan. I'll give it to you slowly and you can copy it. And we'll see if the code comes out right.
You may speak as rapidly as you wish.
Do you know shorthand, Joan?
I do not understand what you mean. I merely make small marks for big words.
Well, that's shorthand, all right. Come on, let's get going.
Right. Here it is. Call any station. Sign the Gregory yacht. Here is the message. Every indication, going half trouble. Possibly may feel, unwise even, leave free in this yacht. Many islanders, lying in forced sleep. Don't indicate especially sincere enjoyment. Longer, unusual silence. Envelops are waiting now. Perhaps later advice. Nearer solution.
The first letter of each word will spell the message we want Johnson to get.
I have it translated. 8 p.m. Fuel 50 miles. Diesel. Use own plans.
If Johnson gets that, we're saved sure.
Johnson will get it.
The magic island of the South Seas lies hidden behind its mysterious bank of magnetic fog. The Gregory yacht and the Johnson rescue boat are lashed together, both held captive at Pier 5 on this weird island of Euclidia. On board the yacht, Mrs. Gregory and Captain Bradford are planning everything as exactly as possible. For at 8 o'clock, just after dark, they're going to try to escape from the island in Johnson's boat. Jerry and Joan are starting along the pier to the island, beginning what may prove to be a very dangerous adventure, as they will try to gain control of the radio and power chambers on the island. It is now just 6:30. 1 hour and a half before the plans must be completed.
Now you must remember, Jerry, that we are to speak of nothing out of the ordinary until we are in the sound channel.
Hey, Joan, why can't we use that sound channel elevator to go down in? You know, the one we came up in last time?
We will do so, Jerry, if we are able to get it to open for us. Remember that we must ask the control chamber for permission to enter.
Well, when those guards hear that we've got the antidote to bring those scientists out of their sleep, they'll be glad enough to let us go down in there.
But, Jerry, we haven't...
Yes, we have. You forgot it, so I brought it all right.
But, Jerry, Captain
Bradford
I know.
said that... Captain Bradford said for you to carry it, but you walked right out without it, so I stuck it in my pocket.
But, Jerry... Oh, Jerry, you stepped right on my foot.
Well, if you don't quit arguing with me, I might have to step on your neck. Now, listen. I've got the stuff Captain Bradford said would bring those Euclidean scientists back to their senses again. And don't give me any more argument.
Oh, Jerry, I begin to understand.
Oh, don't hurry. Next week will be a swell time to start understanding me.
But I did not mean to be stupid, Jerry. You need not be so angry with me. I was not trying to misunderstand you.
Maybe not, but you did just as good a job of it as if you tried to.
I am sorry, Jerry. And of course we must hurry to the laboratory. G-47 will be very angry if we do not wake him and the other scientists as soon as possible.
Now you're coming alive again. Okay, here's the elevator. Recite that hocus pocus that opens it up.
Cleostra at the main elevator shaft. Cleostra at the main elevator shaft.
Maybe they won't let us go down there till we explain to them that we've got the stuff they want.
That should not be necessary. The guard must have heard us discussing it. Yes, Jerry. The elevator is opening again. The top of the shaft covering is arising from the island.
I guess you're right at that. Is this the same elevator we got stuck in when the submarine lock broke and flooded the 5th level?
Yes, Jerry. This is the same elevator.
We can sure pick the nicest places to play.
I think that will not happen again.
I think it better not.
Now the door will open, Jerry.
Now, don't recite all that to me again, Joan. The last time we were in this thing, you said the door will open again. And it didn't. Let me figure this one out for myself.
Why are you so angry with me, Jerry?
Oh, I'm not angry. I'm in a hurry. Here we go. Oh, the floor sounds the same anyway. Now, I'll push this thing for the 5th level.
That is right, Jerry.
Now, and down we go. They can hear us talking in the control chamber, can't they?
Yes, Jerry. All we say can be heard.
Well, I'm glad of that. There goes the 1st level.
Yes. But why do you say you are glad we may be heard in the control chamber?
Because if anything happens to the elevator this time, I'm going to yell until somebody comes and gets us out.
We have passed the 2nd level.
Yeah. I wonder if we'll find all those Euclidean scientists still asleep when we get to the laboratory.
Captain Bradford said he was afraid they would be asleep for hours.
Well, there's the 3rd level. Yeah. Tex did act kind of worried about how long the gas would keep them asleep.
G-47 will be very angry with Captain Bradford when he wakes up and thinks what the captain's formula did to him.
Well, it's his own fault. That's the 4th level. And if G-47 hadn't been in such a hurry to get his hands on his formula, well, Tex would have told him to look out for that gas explosion if it didn't work just right.
He will blame the captain in some way, Jerry. I dread to think what will happen when he wakes up.
Well, I guess this is as far as we go.
Yes, the door will open automatically now.
That's what you said the last time.
But look, Jerry, it is really opening now.
Oh, that's good. I could get nervous awful easy in one of these things. Well, let's get going.
Yes, Jerry.
Now, where's that laboratory?
Right this way, Jerry.
Huh? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess I'm kind of turned around.
Now, right in here, Jerry. Hurry inside.
Boy, you sure thought fast when you steered me in here, Joan. I pretty near forgot and went to the laboratory.
And you thought very swiftly, Jerry, up there on the surface of the island, when you spoke as if we were taking something from Captain Bradford to wake up those men in the chemical chamber.
Well, now that we're both thinking, let's get busy on why we're playing hide and seek down here. Where do you start to clear the way of the radio room?
There is a detailed chart of the island on the work table over there. I will point out the strategic points.
Okay, but let's get in some corner of the room where our voices don't sound like we're hollering down a well.
Come with me. We will find a zone of soundproofing near the chart table.
Well, our feet don't make any more noise. And, hey, our voices are all right now.
Yes, Jerry. That was the end of the sound testing zone.
Swell. Now, where's this plan of the island?
Right here. Is it not beautiful?
Hey, I don't see any maps or drawings. What are you talking about?
This, Jerry. This shining cylinder is an exact replica of the island.
That thing?
Yes, of course.
Golly whiskers, Joan. Well, that looks like a big tin can. About the size of a 10-gallon can, with a cogwheel on the top of it.
Exactly, Jerry. And that is what this island looks like. That is a perfect scale model of the island.
Gee. And that cogwheel on the top is the piers.
Yes. Those arms extending from the upper rim are the piers, and those little metal projections shaped like a falling drop of water, those are the control chambers on the surface of the island.
Boy. And all these little outline places in the sides. They show the levels, don't they? Now, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the 5th level, isn't it?
Yes, and you may see the outlines of the submarine locks there. All of the submarines are at this level. They are kept here so they will still be free of the ocean floor when the island is submerged. Then the submarines may enter or leave their locks, and the surface of the island will be under 40 feet of water.
Boy, I'd like to be able to take that thing back home with me. Wouldn't I have something to show the boys and girls?
It weighs nearly 1,000 pounds, Jerry. I think you would have some trouble carrying it.
Yeah, I'd have to use both hands for that. Well, we've had enough fun. Now, where's a picture of the insides of this funny island? We've got to make our plans and move fast. Somebody's coming to investigate us if we don't hurry it up.
You may see the inside of the island with this model, Jerry.
Huh? You mean look through that steel?
No, this is not the transparent steel. This is opaque. But it opens up at the touch of a finger. So.
Well, giggling goldfish.
Jerry, You know very well that a
goldfish
does not giggle.
Oh, I know that. But I'll bet he would if he could see this. Look, Joan. The whole thing is opened up. Each level just slides out to the side as if there were little shells.
Is it not wonderful, Jerry?
Sure is, Joan. It's about the most wonderful thing like that I ever saw. Gee, look. Look. There's a little submarine in the locks.
And there is the chemical laboratory where the chemists are all asleep.
Oh, yeah. And we're near asleep here. Now, get your nose down close to this, Joan, and show me where every important control room on the island is.
The main radio control room, as you know, is there on the surface of the island.
Yeah, can we do anything to that from here?
Not directly, but I will show you how we may handicap the operation of the beams later.
Never mind later. Do it now.
Very well. And now down here, in the 10th level, the last one in the island proper, are located all the tremendous turbines and motors and generators that furnish the power and light for all devices on the island.
Then that's the place we've got to hit for, right away.
No, Jerry, we must not do that. That would spoil all our plans.
Well, I don't see how. If we can get to that machinery, we can shut off their power, can't we?
We could not get into the power chambers. Even the men who work there are locked in. Then they are relieved at intervals by an armed guard who lock a new group of men in there. And anyone other than the workmen assigned to that section who even appeared on that level would be punished severely and given no chance to explain.
Gosh, that doesn't sound so good.
But we do not want to go into that section, Jerry.
No? Why don't we?
Because if we could shut off the power down there, we would never get out of the island. Every door and elevator would lock automatically and remain sealed until the repairs were completed. Have you forgotten our experience in the elevator? Were we not locked in there?
Yeah. This begins to look not so easy, Joan.
Oh, do not lose heart, Jerry. Even if we could do all that safely, we would not want to. As we must have the power in the radio chamber when we are ready to send the message to Johnson. And we would be defeating our own purpose if we cut off the power.
Well, then what can we do that's any good?
Look into that little chamber, Jerry. The solid round one directly beneath the radio chamber. Just a few feet under the surface of the island.
Yeah, I see it. What's that?
That is the main electrical dispatch room. All the power and lighting circuits on the island pass through a series of master keys and switches there. And we can nearly control the whole island if we can take over that room.
But can we take it over?
It will require courage, Jerry, and what you call a lot of luck. But I think we may hope to do it.
Well, you know your way around here and up there better than I do. What's the plan?
We must go into the radio control chamber, directly above that one, and overcome the guards. Then repeat the procedure in the room below.
How many guards?
There will be only 2 in the upper chamber, I think, and 1 in the lower.
Well, that doesn't sound too bad. They've got ray guns, I guess.
Yes, powerful ones. Not like these little ones we have, and... Oh, Jerry, I have just thought of something.
Huh? Good or bad?
Wonderful. It is in this room that the protective paint is kept. There, Jerry, in that round vat.
What do you mean, protective paint?
The paint which will protect us against the rays for our hands and face.
You mean with that paint on our hands and faces, they can't hurt us with their ray guns?
Yes, Jerry. We have on Euclidean cloth garments, and with that paint on our hands and faces, the rays will be harmless to us.
Well, then let's get into the paint, quick.
Someone is in the room.
Can they see us?
Not yet. We are hidden here.
Then work fast. Shoot your ray gun off. I'll fall like you shot me. You tell them you caught me here.
But Jerry,
Do as I say. I've got an idea. Shoot that gun so I can fall. Quick.